No, you were saying Mr. B, you're trying to add. So that's how I was like, if
No,
that was the same.
Mr. Lee,
Oh, Mr.
Khalifa.
Lee. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. Because I was like, I'm like, oh, then, because we had just seen each other in the building. That's why I was like, oh.
All right. We're ready, Ms. Jenkins.
All right. Good evening. Welcome to Benjamin E. Mays High School GoTeam meeting, where we will follow the agenda as it has been emailed to you and publicly noted. I would like to remind everyone that this is a meeting of the GoTeam. Only members of the team may participate in the discussion. Any members of the public present are here to quietly observe. For members of the GoTeam, please identify yourself when you speak. I am pleased to call this meeting of the Benjamin E. Mays High School GoTeam to order at 5:23 p.m. Our first order of business is to call roll. The secretary will now take the roll.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
When I say your name, if you can just please say present. Ron Garner.
Ramon Garner, present.
Ramon, thank you. Pamela Bryant, present. Kia Cody. Kajara Anderson.
Present.
Andrew Dunn.
Present.
Elizabeth Raymond.
Present.
Jasmine Smith.
Present.
Rejoice Jones. Kimberly Jenkins.
Present.
And Malachi Youngblood. Okay. That's the roll call. Thank you.
Thank you. The team will only be able to take official action if a quorum is present. Ms. Bryan, is there a quorum present?
Sorry, I was on mute. Yes, there is a quorum present.
Thank you, Ms. Bryant.
Mm-hmm.
Our first order of business is to approve the agenda. This was provided to you and copies are here. Are there any changes to the agenda?
Go to the slide, KB.
Okay. May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I motion to approve the agenda.
Can you please, I'm sorry, can you please state your name?
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me? Elizabeth Raymond. I motion to approve the agenda.
Is there a second?
It's Kajara Anderson. I will second.
It has been moved and properly seconded. Excuse me. Now we will take a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. All opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? Please say abstain. Thank you. We will review and approve the meeting minutes from our last meeting. The minutes have been provided to you. Are there any corrections? Okay. May I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes from our last meeting?
Elizabeth Raymond. I motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
May I have a second?
Kajara Anderson. I will second.
It has been moved and properly seconded. Second. Now we will take a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
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 All opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions, please say abstain. Our next action item on the agenda is to fill our open community member seat. And I do not believe he is present at this time. We will table filling our open community seat at this time. Our next action item, but I think we have to have discussion first before we take action on it, and it's in the discussion item section, is to review the strategic plan updates. And then also we have to rank our strategic plan priorities. So at this point, we will move to our discussion items on the agenda.
All right. Good evening, everybody, family. Let's dive in and get started. This first slide is just really speaking to where we are in the process thus far this school year. So I won't read this to you, and we'll move right along. Next slide, please. All right. So we're in the fourth stage, or the fourth step of the timeline, September through December. We are utilizing current data. The GoTeam will review and possibly update the school's strategic priorities and plan. Next slide. All right. Here's our current strategic plan. It should be very familiar to you now. If not, again, it's always on the website. It's always accessible to you if you need to see it. I won't read the mission and vision to you, but essentially, we've broken down our strategic priorities into 8 different steps, and they fall within the categories of fostering academic excellence for all. That's our data, curriculum, and instruction. And then our signature program is building a support of students, a culture of student support, whole child intervention, equipping and empowering our leaders and staff, and then creating a system of school support. So if we wanted to shift around any of these, right, we very well could. We ranked last year that our first priority was overall to increase our graduation rate. We wanted to increase the percentage of students showing proficiency in the Georgia milestones. We wanted to strengthen the implementation of our IB signature program. We wanted to implement a whole child system of supports. We wanted to utilize flexible learning tools, retain and continue to develop a high-performing faculty, build teacher capacity, and then lastly, we said provide wraparound services. And then in the other side, just list the strategies that we were going to use to do that. Next slide. So our discussion items, we're going to talk about the Georgia milestones and math. We've already talked about the other content areas, but math was embargoed. That data has been released. So we're going to dive deep into our math data. We're going to dive deep into our graduation rate data. Also our fall winter map, which is our universal screener, followed by our continuous improvement plan and strategic plan, STAP, short-term action plan, and then, strategic plan and continuous improvement plan. We'll make any updates if the team sees need, and then we'll rank our strategic priorities if we feel as a team that we need to. Next slide. All right, so here's the data. So I'm proud to announce, everybody. I want y'all to take a look now. Proud to announce. Look at our data, y'all. We're not where we want to be, but we're moving. Right, so look at where we were spring of 2022. We only had 33% of our kids in math to be at a developing plus. Spring of 23, we that increased a little bit to 36. Look at where we jumped to this past year. 54% of our kids, over half, are at developing plus. In proficiency, we went from 3%, only 3% in 22, 23, went from 11 all the way up to 25, right? We celebrate that. We're happy about it. I definitely tell the team, but that's last year now. We got to do it again and keep increasing. But we're moving in the right direction. We had a 17.5% increase in developing plus learners in math and a 13% increase in proficient learners. Just to put that in perspective, the state probably only sets a goal around 3% each year, 3 to 5%. 5 can be really aggressive. We jumped 13%, everybody, and 17%. So I'm saying that to say something is working. Next slide. Graduation rate graduation rate still embargoed, right? Went down a little bit, and I could tell you why. In full transparency, my first year as a high school principal, there's some tedious things that play into your graduation rate. Things like coding. So, when we send all of our graduates to the state, they look at it, they send it back, and they ask questions. And when they ask questions, my team and we have to go in and we have to say, this kid is, homeschool, or this kid is in another district, and you have to, show documentation from that. So we had some gaps this past year, which kind of cost us. Now, since the state has allowed us to resubmit some things, and it hasn't come back as official yet, but our graduation rate will increase a little bit more, probably to about 87%, which would only be about a 2% drop. But there were some things that I learned as a principal. We still graduated more kids than we graduated the year before. But again, graduation rate is not just about kids who are graduating, but it's your systems around coding for students who may have left your school, or students who, may have dropped out of school, which we don't want to see, or students who may be homeschooled. So it's a lot of factors in there that we have to shore up. But I want to make sure that I let you guys know exactly what happened, that I'm on top of that. And when our official graduation rate releases, it'll be higher than 85.5. It'll be around 87. But this year our goal is 93. So I wanted to be full transparency with you around what happened with that, because I don't want to see us drop in any areas. But I'm the principal of the school, so I take responsibility, and I want to let you know what happened. Next slide. All right, here are our fall and here are our fall MAP scores by cohort in the areas of math and reading. This MAP is our universal screener, and we take it 3 times a year. So we really struggle sometimes with getting students to really lock in and take these tests as seriously as they possibly can. And then, for our seniors, they only take it once. So I really want to analyze this data for my 9th and 10th grade students who take it, the full 3 times throughout the school year. So this is the first time we'll compare these scores with how we do again when we take it in January. Next slide. All right, so in our data, these are questions for the team. What do you notice? What are your wonderings? Based on your school's trend data from MAP assessments and end of year assessments, which student subgroups and grade levels show the most significant gaps or unexpected trends? And then, what additional questions do we have? So what are our wonderings, and what do we notice about the data that we saw? And if we need to go back, we can go back. So this is the milestone math. And then next, go ahead.
Oh, no, in terms of notice for the milestone math, that's a good improvement. I'm celebrating that too. I think that's good. For the milestone for math scores.
Go to the next one, Ms. Kirkpatrick. The graduation rate. Any wonderings or questions about this?
I just have one question. The criteria for the graduation rate, and I don't know what the steps are and how we get that information back to the district or when we get it to them. Is there a cutoff period, and are we aware of the criteria prior to us getting the data information over to the district? Is there a way we can kind of eliminate some of the issues that we're currently having?
Good question. Yes, ma'am. I think we work in tandem with the district. So what happens is at the end of the year, actually in the summer, all of the students that we graduated, we have documentation for, and we send that list to the state and to the district. And like I said, they go back in, and what we didn't know is, when they send it back to us, that's our opportunity to go in and answer any questions that the state may have. So it's a big, huge spreadsheet, and the state may, we may have a kid here, and this kid may be homeschooled, and the state may say, not applicable. And what we're supposed to do is go in and say, the student is homeschooled based off such documentation, because all of the documentation is in Infinite Campus. And so it's as simple as doing that, and we left that off for about 17 students, just going back in and giving the explanation for what happened. And so they counted against us. So I definitely know now, because I'm gonna be checking myself. moving
Okay.
forward. But that's it's as simple as that. We just forgot. We didn't forget. New people doing it, and yeah, we dropped the ball a little bit on that. But again, the state, because it's embargoed, it hasn't been released yet. The state has allowed us to fix some of that. So, when it is released, within the next couple of weeks, hopefully, you'll see this 85.5 be higher than that. And then when you average in our 5-year, we're really going to be around 88.9.
I'm just curious in terms of these percentages is, it's fine, but what does this translate into in terms of actual students?
Yeah. So actual students, like I said, we graduated 271 students. Last year, the year before that, when they got to 89.9, they only graduated about 230, I believe. So we graduated more kids, but again, the cohorts are large. This year, we're going to graduate over 300 kids, right? Yeah, it'll be 300 or more. So still graduating more kids, but guess what? If we mess up the coding, the
Right.
graduation rate can still be lower, right? So we just got to do both parts right.
Understood.
Yeah. Yeah, good question.
This is
Next.
Andrew Dunn. I had a question.
Yes, sir.
Yes, it's a small percentage, but I know that there's the MOID and regional department,
Yep.
and there has been some questioning as to if they truly graduate, because many of them will move on to a transition school, and I'm not sure if they have been counted or will count going forward as being a graduate. And I know every point counts in our situation, and I was just trying to gain clarity as to what that is going to look like going forward, because I know there is some decision making to be made from the transition school that many of them go to, as well as the high school. Are they truly graduating, or are they just being promoted to the transition school until that point, and then they graduate from the transition program? So I'm just trying to gain clarity on that.
It's a good question, Mr. Dunn. We're gonna make note of that, Ms. Jenkins, and let me do some research on that. From my understanding, they did count as graduates. But let me get clarity on that. I don't want to say what I think. I want to get the right answer. So I'll table that and answer that question at our next meeting, or come and see. I'll answer it for the team at our next meeting, but I'll have an answer for you sooner than that.
Thank you.
All right. There aren't any more. Let's keep it moving. All right. So our continuous improvement plan. Here's the plan that we have to do, or I have to do, my team and I, every year, starting out the year. And these plans are derived from our strategic plan at the very, that we saw at the very beginning. So taking that broad plan and breaking it down even further to say, okay, for this year, right? Because that's a 6-year plan. For this year, here's what we want to do. And we start out by kind of saying what our strengths were the year before. So school year 22-23, there was a 5% increase in the percentage of ninth graders scoring average high on the map. We were on track last year to get our IB MYP authorization, which we did get. Our attendance increased, CCR increased from to 43.8. It was down at 39.6. The graduation rate at that time had gone up. Some of the challenges were literacy. That was a 4% decrease in the percent of ninth graders scoring high average on the map. The behavior 4+ incidents went up. And then the CCRPI, college and career readiness, and completion pathways were not where we wanted them to be. Next slide. And so here are our goals for this year. So around whole child and intervention, we said by the end of this year, we wanted our CCRPI attendance rate. That's the amount of kids that miss 18 days or less. And attendance is a real problem, but we wanted that to increase by 3%. So we wanted it to go from 41 to 44.6 by the end of this year. Also, by the end of this year, we wanted the amount of students with 4+ discipline incidences to increase by 5 percentage points. And then around content mastery, like I said, once you hit certain numbers, the goals increase. So, we need 51.3% of our students to be developing plus in American literature. We want 63.9% of our students to be developing plus in biology. We want 54% of our kids to be developing plus in U.S. history and 58 in math. So we're not resting on where we are. We're continuing to push and push and push. We had a good year. We had some good games. We congratulate that, but we must continue. And then by 2025, we will increase our graduation rate, like I said, to 93%. We want to receive our DP authorization for this year. That's our next goal around IB. We want our end of pathway assessments to increase. We want the amount of seniors that apply for FAFSA to increase. We want the amount of seniors that apply to 3 or more colleges to increase. And we want our students who are taking AP and IB exams to score threes or higher. We're pushing and monitoring in every area, and we want to be relentless in our pursuit to make sure our kids get the best quality education. I'm serious about that, and our student and our team is as well. Next slide. All right, here are the specific action steps. I love looking at this because I know we spend a lot of time, everybody that's not an educator on the call, we spend a lot of time really spelling out what we're going to focus on and what we're going to do and who's going to be responsible and how we monitor. So when I look at this, I'm happy to see that we're on track and doing everything that we said we were going to do. The action steps around whole child, we said we're going to launch a wraparound service center. We're going to do that. It's on track to be launched February 14th. We said that we were going to identify our most at-promise students through attendance, discipline, and academic data. We're doing that through Ms. Jenkins' work and our whole child team work. We said that we were going to provide a comprehensive training and support to our behavior specialists, our care team members, and instructional staff on no-nonsense nurture approach and school-wide behavior management strategies. We've done that and continue to do that. And we also said that we were going to monitor and communicate ongoing attendance to students and families. So students whose attendance is in jeopardy, they get phone calls, they get letters. We're doing that work. Here are the people, the next slides, who are responsible for doing that. And again, all of this information is on the website. Next slide. Our other action steps, we said that we were going to monitor the planning and delivery of content-specific instructional strategies that build literacy and are aligned to the IB approaches to learning, teaching, and learning skills. We're going to monitor PLCs. We're doing that work. We're going to monitor and implement impact cycles, which, Ms. Jasmine Smith completes, Mr. Mason, and all of our instructional coaches. So everything that we said that we were going to do, all right, that we vowed to do, we're doing it. Next slide. Again, we wanted to monitor the attendance, behavior, and grades of our seniors who need credit recovery. We're doing that work through our graduation coach, Ms. Reeves, and counselor, Mrs. Fowler. Monitor the implementation of IB PLCs. That's what Ms. Jasmine Smith does, and she holds professional developments and trainings every other Friday. Monitor the implementation of rigorous instructional strategies and effective EOPA test prep. We had such a big jump in our EOPA assessments that we have to continue that work as well. And then monitor the implementation of senior sponsors, current college students. So we have 2 college advisors that's in the building, and their sole job every day is to make sure that our seniors are applying to 3 or more colleges, that they are completing FAFSA and applying to scholarships. This month is Apply to College Month, so all of the state schools in Georgia have free, they're waiving the application fees, so it's a big push for our seniors to apply to as many schools as possible. And then we'll do some other things that are really strategic around making sure that kids are applying to college if they want to go, and applying to scholarships and applying to FAFSA. So all of those things that we vowed to do to our community, we're doing those. Next slide. Here is our short-term action plan. So I want you to think about it like this. Strategic plan, 6-year plan. Continuous improvement plan, this is what I'm doing this year. Short-term action plan, here's what I'm doing the first 90 days of the school year. And we'll make another one of these for the second 90 days because the school year is 180 days. And so our short-term action plan is really focused around our special education students. And when CCRPI is the embargo is lifted, I'm really excited to show you, where we've landed in all the different areas so that you can clearly see that special education is our area that we have to improve in. But not only that, special education, American literature, right, is pinpointed area. And we can even pinpoint that down to the students and the teacher who we are helping to make sure that we improve in those areas. So, what we said that we were going to do, in the first 45 days and the second 45 days, here is all centered around special education. Next slide. All right, as part of the continuous improvement process, all APS schools are completing a quarterly check-in for continuous improvement plans. Questions to consider based on your year-long continuous improvement plan. What are the actions that the school has already completed? What data supports the completion of action step and success criteria, both implementation and student achievement? So I was just kind of giving you high-level overviews, but everything that we do, we use Google Documents. So all of the professional development that Ms. Jasmine Smith does is documented, what she's covering, what she uses as for presentations. Same with all of our teachers' lesson plans. They are also a part of Google Docs that we can always go and see to document that work is being done. Our whole child meetings happen every single Wednesday. Ms. Jenkins is responsible for that work. And making sure that we are checking in on our most at-risk kids. So that work is happening and documented. And then the different monitors also are responsible for filling out a form to tell us, how the kids are progressing, if they've been, suspended from school, if they've gotten in trouble, what's their attendance, their discipline, and their grades. So we monitor those things closely, again, to make sure that they are happening. Next slide. All right, next we want to talk about our strategic plan priorities. All right, so we're going to look back at our priorities, which we saw, and we're going to decide if we need to shift or move anything around. So again, we're looking at the second box where it says school strategic priorities. I'll tell you as a principal here, I'm a person that, we're very strategic, we're very intentional about our plans, and I'm not one to really shift plans, especially when you're having some sense of success. It's hard for me to say success, right? Because it's a lot of work to do. When I say you're moving in the right direction, I want to double down on that as opposed to changing, unless some things that maybe some of the people in the building say that we need to change. But as far as I'm concerned, with the results that we got this past year, I will vote to keep our plans the way that they are. The work that we're doing around our graduation rate still needs to be highest priority because we did make some mistakes that I said, we would clean up, but we need to make sure that we do that, right? So that needs to be at the forefront. And I need you guys to hold me accountable to when we meet and how's that work going so that we don't have any surprises at the end. We saw some increases in our students who are proficient. So for me, I want to double down on what we're doing in our PLCs. We added the impact cycles, which is something new this year. And the impact cycles are where, the math coach and the biology, the science coach spends one-on-one time with the teachers as opposed to in a group. But this one-on-one time, we film their classes and we go back and the teacher and the coach looks at, it's like football, it's like any sport, right? We look at the film. How are we doing here? What are some areas that we could do better in? What's going well? And the teacher and that coach identify areas that they can improve upon. And then they go back and put the plan in place. You put the plays in. We go back and we run the plays. It's bite size. So it may be we need to actively monitor more. When kids are working, we need to be giving them immediate feedback, walking around to each student's desk, looking at their answers and giving them feedback, being active in the classroom. And so if we see that we didn't do that on the film, then that's the goal, right? And we coach our teachers up in those areas that they need to improve upon. I believe that that's going to work. And it's going to help our teachers become even more tuned in areas that they may not be, right? So it's a little bit different when you get to see yourself in action. So we're doing that. Strengthen the implementation of IB. We have our 2 IB specialists. Again, we're almost done. We were already CP authorized before I got to Mays. Last year, through Ms. Smith's work and Mrs. Howard, we earned our middle years program authorization. And I'm happy to announce that we have our diploma program authorization visit scheduled for December 4th through the 6th. So I hope to be able to share the good news in the beginning of the year. We're going to claim that. We will share the good news that we will have our diploma program authorization at the beginning of next year, which I, for one, will be happy about. But then, after you're authorized, it is continuing to work to make sure that we have more students that's graduating with those certificates and with those diplomas. So we are strengthening the implementation of IB here at Mays. Implement a whole child system of supports. I think we're doing that really well through Ms. Jenkins and our service center. Our discipline numbers are way down, everybody, way down. And I'll show you the data. And it's not fudged data, but we are putting the suspensions in when they happen. But our kids have mentors. We have less fights happening in the school. Not a perfect school now. We're not perfect, but way less fights. And I think it's because we're taking time to mediate. When we see that there's a problem with 2 kids, Ms. Jenkins and her team is taking the time. It's not like, okay, y'all stop and go on, because we know later on, if we don't sit down and talk about it, that's going to turn into a squabble. So we got to sit the kids down and talk to them and teach them how to interact. So mediations are our go-to play. We sit them down, get everybody involved, sit them down, sit across from each other, and we teach them, all right, what's happening, what's going on. Here's how you work with that better. And, again, we're not perfect, but that is working. A lot of my kids, through these mentorship programs, a lot of my kids who were, making bad decisions are now walking around in bow ties and shirts and ties on, right? I love to see that because they want the structure. And so, our whole system is working. It's a lot of work, and I know it's new for Ms. Jenkins, but it's working. I always want to utilize flexible learning tools in technology integration, learning more about AI, how to utilize it as a resource, because it's not going anywhere. How our teachers can utilize it as a resource to lessen their time, because it'll do a lot of the work as far as lesson plans and things of that nature, where we can spend the most of our time internalizing, right, and preparing for class. That's what I really want our teachers to be prepared, spend the time studying so that we're ready when our students get in front of them. Retain and can tell, we want to always retain our high-performing faculty. We did not have a lot of turnover this past year. Hopefully people are still happy and don't want to leave after this year unless they're being promoted, which we always want to push promotion. But we did a pretty good job of maintaining and retaining our staff last year. We always want to build our teacher capacity for students, and then provide wrap services of, availability to address academic, emotional, and behavioral needs of the students, which again is that work that Ms. Jenkins and her team is doing. So these are the priorities that we have in place, and we saw some good gains. I, for one, don't want to move them around, but I'm one person. So as a team, looking at this and kind of hearing what I'm saying, if we want to make any adjustments or be up for discussion, let's do that.
Mr. Garner, I like to say, based on the numbers the data that you provided, and based on the fact that we can clearly see the strategies are working, we can clearly see that everything that you've already put in place and that we've documented, it seems to be working based on the data. If the data reflected differently, then I don't see it, but I think it's working. And I mean, based on that, I don't see a need to change or fix something that's really not broken. So I'm in agreement with you on that. I think everything in place looks good the way it is.
Thank you. Any other thoughts, concerns?
No, I definitely agree with that too. Being on the teacher side, I do think that the wraparound services, they do work, because I've even noticed the decline in a lot of like the larger altercations that we've had in the past. So that's definitely a sustainment. I think this is good, and you sometimes have to keep certain things in place so that we can track the progress and see what this looks like for us. So I think this should.
I agree as well. I'm one of those people who kind of always oppose something, but I want to let the educators and the people who are in the building every day, and like the person said before me, if it's working, I'm very interested in wraparound services. I'm definitely interested in treating each student as a whole. And so any way that I can participate and help, I seen you was up here at City Hall earlier. Um, that's where I am now. And so I agree that if it's something that's there and it's working, when the numbers decline, we'll revisit, those opportunities. But I'm in agreement with moving forward as is.
Thank you. And I see Mr. Lee, Ms. Jenkins, can it be noted that Mr. Lee is on the call now? So maybe at the end, can we go in and make the motion to add him officially as the other community member? Is that possible to do?
Yes, since I tabled it, we are able to move forward with filling his seat. Yes.
Okay, let's slide that in at the end.
Okay.
All right, next slide. All right, I think we've already kind of what progress has been made. So we've said, I think everybody is saying, hey, I want to leave the strategic priorities in the order that they're in. And we want to double down on the work and see kind of where we land.
Mr. Garner, before we move forward, do we have to take a vote on us keeping those strategic plan priorities in place, or is it just?
I think so. I see Ms. Jenkins saying we do. Okay, got it. So,
Yes.
all right. All right. Okay.
Okay, may I have a motion to keep the items on our the ranking order of our strategic plan priorities? May I have a motion?
This is Ms.
Elizabeth
Bryant, and I motion that we keep the strategic plan priorities that are in place in their current ranking in the same ranking.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Elizabeth Raymond, I second to sustain the current ranking that we have.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. All opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? Please say abstain. All right, thank you. The motion has been properly moved and we have adopted to keep the current ranking of our strategic plan priorities. Thank you.
All right, so in preparation for our next school year budget development, which will start in the month of January, the GoTeam needs to rank its strategic priorities, which we've done. All right, so we've done that. Okay. Where we're going, our next meeting will begin the discussion of 25-26 budget. I can tell you guys that those are going to be heavy discussions because there will be some shifts in the budget from what I'm hearing in our district. So, we'll have to brace together and make some tough decisions around, budgeting. Then we will be fine, but it's the season that we're in. So more to come on that as I get more information. Definitely will share with you, and we'll make some decisions as a team to do what's best for our kids. All right. Strategic planning. This is a quote from Robert J. McCain. Strategic planning will help you fully uncover your available options, set priorities for them, and define the methods to achieve them. I like that. All right, principals report. I'm just going to take this opportunity to talk about our security grant, and then I want to talk to you about some accomplishments. So the district has provided us with a $45,000 security grant, which I have in reserves at the moment. Before we got this grant, I think the district spent over $120,000 on the Evolve machines, which are the type machines that they have, at the airport. I think those are working well for us in our, process. We did have an incident that I said to the community maybe last week or week before Halloween, where one of the settings wasn't where it needed to be. So we had a kid have a knife, which another kid told us about, and we were able to get that from that student. Since then, we've tested it over and over and over again, changed the settings. So we're back to where we need to be. But, luckily we haven't had any weapons, guns on campus or anything like that, because our arrival process is so tedious and every student knows. Kids are doing well with having clear bags, and we search those as well every day, which is what we have to do to make sure that, we're as safe as we possibly can be. But with the security grant, again, this table, there is a system that they kind of told us about, meaning Chief Applin and his team, that can detect which doors have been opened, that I'm looking into, and I'll share it with you once I get more information. It will be that budget amount. But I think we get this grant every year for the next, I don't know how many years. So we need to spend it this year on security. But I don't want to rush to a decision, because you can't buy any and everything with it. You can, it has to be for security. So, things like maybe a security type monitor, which we have those in place for next year. We may be able to use those funds for that if need be. And what I mean is, if the budget says I need to cut a security monitor, maybe I'll be able to pick that person up with these funds. So more to come on that. The other things I wanted to share are just a list of, before I go to Cotnia, accomplishments. And I've been, it's a long list, and I'm happy about this. I definitely don't like to brag, but I'm happy about some of the things that's happening in the school that we all are a part of. So our cheerleaders were first place in the region. Our football team is 8-2. Got a big playoff game this Friday against Stars Mill, 7:30. We sent students that's in our audio visual tech class to WSB and V103. We had students here from Germany that stayed here for 10 days. They did so many events. We were down at City Hall last week. We just had Cotton Year accreditation, which I'll talk to you. I'll show you more about that in a second. That went well. I told you we have our DP authorization for IB in a few weeks. I just met with Georgia Tech again today. They only had 8 Project Engage slots for the state. Mays has 2 of those. We had the first group of students, our DP students currently in the 11th grade taking courses towards their DP diplomas. We have a group of students that's going to got 3 students going to France, got 3 students going to Spain, all expenses paid. Got another 5 students that'll be going to Ghana, all expenses paid. All of those trips are happening in spring break. The students who were here from Germany, our students will go to Germany and live with them next year. We're opening a new wellness center with Ms. Jenkins in February. That's being sponsored by Home Depot. We took a group of students to FAMU, former Mayor Franklin and Andrea Boone. Our band students just got back from a trip in Alabama. We had Fall Festival this year. It was a huge hit. We did it for the first time in the parking lot. We had horses and bouncy houses and a lot of partners here. We had a big partnership breakfast where we invited all of our partners out and just said thank you to them, gave out gifts and plaques to them. Grandparents' Day was a huge success. I'm running out of space. We had Grandparents' Day the first year in the skybox, and it outgrew that. We said this year we're going to take it to the small gym, and we had over 400 and some odd grandparents to show up. So I'm going to have to do it by grade level next year because I was just running out of space. We had a group of students to go down and speak at City Hall. We had a literacy day in the media center. We had 11th and 12th grade students. We took 700 students to the Rialto Theater. We took a group of students to UGA, Tyler Perry Studios. Business students went to the Delta Community Bank. We had the American Physical Society for Science to come out and do experiments with our students. We had a great IB night. Curriculum night is next week, by the way. We need all the parents to be there. We had Hispanic Heritage Month, where we take the time to make sure that our Hispanic students are seen and heard, and we celebrate them and their culture. We had students participate in the district's entrepreneurship fair. We had CTAE Family Night. We took students down to Perry, Georgia, to the Big Perry Fair in Perry. We had ESPN here at the beginning of the year. We had International Girls' Day celebration, where we took a group of our girls to celebrate that. We had a blood drive here on campus. We took students down to Georgia State. Our business students, we started up swim team back up. Ms. Raymond is the swim team coach. We still have our partnership with Georgia Tech and with Google. We just took a group of students in graphic design classes to SCAD. The Ms. Boone, engineering teacher, took students down to Jekyll Island. Partnership with Upward Bound. We took the PSAT. We got a Save the Music grant through Fine Arts, Ms. Penn, where they have given us over $100,000 worth of equipment for podcasting and music production. So we're in the process of opening up that lab. We had our CTAE induction ceremony today. And our GoTeam, this team was recognized for being an outstanding GoTeam for the district last past Saturday at the APS Awards. Our building engineer, Mr. Walker, was a finalist for Support Person of the Year. And I was fortunate enough to be a top 3 finalist for Principal of the Year, which says not anything about me, but us, our team. I'm the principal of the school, so I get the recognition. But that is a testament to the district seeing the good work that's happening at our school. So I just wanted to take that opportunity to run down that list of things that we should be happy about, right? Nowhere near where we want to be though. So we're not, we don't get the, lack of better terms, a big head, or we started thinking that we, are doing something, because we still got 45 to, in some cases 50% of our students, not at the beginning, still in the beginning, which is unacceptable. but it is a testament that we're doing some things right. All right, not perfect, but we're moving in the right direction, and that's important. The last thing that I want to show you, Ms. Kirkpatrick, is the Cognia certification. I won't go through this because this is another, but I just want y'all to know we working over here, y'all. We're not wasting your taxpayer dollars, but we're putting in a lot of work. So, we were up for accreditation through Cognia, and this was, again, a ton of work. And these are the slides that we had to go through. And you can just kind of peruse through this. And we had to write narratives for all of these things too, but just an analysis of kind of where we are in every area of the school. So we did this for that accreditation. Showed them like, no, the classes we offer, what we're doing differently, how we got better in those areas, and so on and so forth. I think I'm gonna put this on the website too, so people can just see this and get a entire snapshot about Mays High School, Benjamin Elijah Mays High School, and everything that we're doing to continue the rich legacy and culture of our school. All right, Ms. KP, I know that's another 50 slides. I don't want to take everybody through those. Is there anything else that I have? All right. And now I think, Ms. Jenkins, I'll turn it back over to you so that we can officially add Mr. Lee.
Thank you, Dr. Garner. And Dr. Garner is being humble here. Another announcement, Dr. Garner received his doctoralship. He's now a Dr. Garner now.
Yeah, a lot of work.
He didn't make that announcement for himself.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, we will now move to fill the open community member seat. This person will serve on the GoTeam for a full 2-year term. I nominate Mr. Khalifa Lee. Mr. Lee, I'm sorry, did I say that correct? Okay. Does anyone to fill the community seat? Does anyone have any comments or discussion about this nominee? We will now proceed to vote on the nomination of Mr. Khalifa Lee for the community member seat. All in favor, please say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
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 All opposed, please say nay or raise your hand. Any abstentions? Please say abstain or raise your hand. Okay. Congratulations, Mr. Khalifa Lee. You will serve as our community member this year on our GoTeam. Welcome to the team, Mr. Lee.
Much appreciated. Thank y'all so much. I'm happy to, I guess, finally make my way here to greet you all in this role officially. And now in a new role, I see that I've been seated and gifted to work with you all even more directly on my beloved alma mater and this community cluster collectively. I appreciate it, and I can't wait. This is an exciting year for all of us. So congratulations to everybody. I'm like, I'm not. It's hard for me to cry, but I'm tearing inside with all the growth that we've all been able to make sure happens for our community, in our area, in our schools, and our youth, and our children, the elders, and the families abound. Like this is powerful. Everything that's been done. So congratulations to everybody and everyone here. All the good work we've been able to do for the people. Thank y'all.
There you go. Thank you, Mr. Lee, for everything that you do, man, for our school. Somebody who we can always count on, without a doubt. And I know the work that you're doing in the community as well. So I'm super excited to have you in this role for sure. All right.
Thank you. I don't think we had anybody signed up for public comment. This was a public comment meeting, but I don't think anybody signed up. Ms. Kirkpatrick, did anyone sign up for public comment? Okay. All right, does anyone have any announcements?
Just remember, curriculum night is next Tuesday, followed by PTA at 6 p.m. next Tuesday as well. We'll be sending out some information about our food drive as we want to have a big food drive for the community here next Thursday. So as we continue to plan, I'll send some communication out once everything has been solidified.
Okay. And our next GoTeam meeting will be Tuesday, January 21st, 2025. We have reached the end of our agenda. Is there any additional business at this time? May I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Elizabeth Raymond, I motion to adjourn the meeting.
May I have a second?
A second.
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All opposed, please say aye or raise your hand. Any abstentions? No, I'm sorry, not aye, but all opposed, please raise your hand. Okay. Any abstentions? Please raise your hand. Okay, this meeting is officially adjourned at 6:18 p.m.
Take care.